Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for taking the time and talking a little bit about the use of data. As you know, we're here with some of the students of data analytics for business, and we want to learn a little bit about your role, what you do, some of the challenges that you face every single day when you're handling and working with data.
Great. Happy to help. So my name's Mike, and I work as a director at Coriel Capital Management. That's a money manager for retail clients. And I'm also founder of Digital Alpha Investing. That's a trading strategy that focuses on cryptocurrencies. And for both of these roles, I use data on a daily basis. It's important to use data for a variety of reasons. First, it helps you stay objective. Oftentimes, our caveman-like brains get manipulated by the way data is presented or the way we're feeling at the time that we see it. But analyzing data, especially using Excel or a computer, can help you obtain a more objective perspective on the data. Also, it can give you a different perspective. Again, when you see the data laid out in a chart, it's very different than just looking at the raw data yourself. And it can help you get a big picture. Oftentimes, we can't digest 30,000 rows of data. It's impossible. But using special software, you can analyze that amount of data and then package it into a chart or a graph, and then you can get that big picture perspective. And it's useful for trading, or even if you're running your own startup fashion store and you need to analyze data from customers, seeing what trends they bought, what clothing items, etc. It can also help you catch things that you miss. All right, a lot of times when we're just looking for trends, we might miss some data, but analyzing it properly can help you catch all those things. So for my own purposes, the way I analyze data is twofold. First, I use Excel. And then secondly, I use a programming language called Python in order to analyze the data. And I can show you an example here. I'm going to try to post. Could you please enable screen share?
Yes, I will give you the. Yep.
Great.
You can share with us. Thank you.
You see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So this is what I mentioned before, the programming language called Python. In conjunction with a developer, we use it to monitor the digital alpha investing and cryptocurrency strategy. In this case, we monitor cryptocurrency coins across several different exchanges, and we look for trends and patterns that we can use to trade. So for here, we're able to take 405 spikes across 2,206 pairs over 31 days, and we're able to plot the data into a chart. Additionally, we're able to plot similar data into a scatter plot. Because this is a program, we can do many different charts over many different iterations, different time periods, etc. And as a result, we can really dive into the data and often even times run optimizations on the data to try to find the optimal coefficients when calculating the scoring formula for a specific coin. Then the other way in which I analyze data, I'm going to try to switch screens here, is to use Excel. So I'm going to try to share my screen again, see if I can get Excel here. So this is Excel. Here I have a table listing coins, give metrics such as slope, depth, volume, realized profit. And then within Excel, you can have the data, but you can also have formulas. Since here's a formula to reference, it's a little bit complex, but it references data on a different page and pulls it into this page so I can combine two sets of data.
Okay.
In addition, scroll to the right, here my optimizing spreadsheet. So here we can calculate the realized profit for the given portfolio, 12% per month.
Mhm.
And we can calculate the optimal coefficients from our number of spikes and slope, and then the estimated realized profit for the month of 29%. And in this way, we're able to use data to obtain optimal results better than a human would be able to do otherwise. Something I often tell my programmer is bad data in, bad data out.
Yes. So
In
how
your
can you
analysis-
do when data is bad?
Exactly. A lot of people, they just throw a bunch of data in there. They click a button that says analyze, and then they look at the results and it's nonsensical. So you have to have a handle on your data before you put it into the system. And often that means understanding what the data represents
Mhm.
through the data, spot checking it, and what I call just playing around with the data, making sure it looks correct and it makes sense to you before putting it into the actual black box analyzer, or just analyzing it using Excel or Python. And that way you can ensure good data in, good data out.
Mhm.
Oftentimes also through that process of looking closely at the data and also looking closely at the output of the analysis, you'll find outliers.
Yes.
Many times, my programmer and I will analyze. I'll give him a project to work on. He'll analyze the data. He'll say, hey, Mike, I didn't see any result. Doesn't look like, there's anything here. And then that's when I'll get involved. I'll look at the data that he was using. Oftentimes I'll realize that it was too much data, meaning the time length was too long, right? We maybe want to focus on a week instead of a month, or maybe the data wasn't from the right exchange. They have to get involved in the data. Sometimes there's outliers, right? One massive outlier that throws off the average, and you'll discover that by plotting the data, right? If you plot data, then you can see those outliers, and many times it's a judgment call.
Yeah.
And be careful with that, because you can engage in cherry picking, which is removing only the outliers that go against your original thesis, and thus it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where you'll prove your original hypothesis because you just remove all the data that goes against it.
Yeah.
So as a general rule, you only want to remove data that's 1 or 2 standard deviations outside the normal, which means if it's in the top 5% or bottom 5%, you can remove it. But it is oftentimes a judgment call, and at the end of the day, data is analyzed by humans. Forget that. It's not infallible, right? It's people that are doing the work.
Yeah. So if we can recap here about some advice that you have for the students and about working with data or seeing the importance of data, maybe they're not going to go as deep, but what would you recommend and tell them?
I'd say first, it's important. And second, don't be intimidated. Sometimes people hear big data and they turn off, but it's just numbers. It's not going to bite you. And it can look very foreign and intimidating when you see a big spreadsheet of numbers. But I promise you, the most advanced you have access to a supercomputer, and it's right in your brain. All right, our brains are far superior than any computer when it comes to things like pattern recognition, etc. So use that supercomputer you have inside your brain and just look at the data little by little, one row at a time. The journey of a lifetime begins with a single step, and then you'll start to see patterns and you'll start to understand the data, and it won't feel as intimidating. Secondly, data is more important than just finance, right? Or cryptocurrencies. It's useful in fashion when identifying trends, right? You can't identify a trend just by going out on the street and looking at people. You need to gather lots of data and pool it together across many different geographical locations, cities, etc. Or if you're running a store, you need to keep tabs on what people are buying. and the profit and loss on each item to make sure your store stays profitable. So there's many use cases for data. And in this age, in the year 2022, we've got big data. We've got a lot of different software out there that can analyze, but also track data. I think the people that know how to use it on a granular level or a high level are the ones that are going to succeed in the workplace.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, and we would love to have you on next time. Again, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge and your advice. I think it's really relevant. Have a great day.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Bye.
Bye.